All right. All right, so the May Day Mayfly. I have got an Ahrex FW 561 in a size 14. That's their traditional nymph hook, the barbless version. I've got that fixed in my vise. For tying thread, I'm just going to use some light tan 70 denier ultra thread. And you could obviously do this in other colors, olives, darker browns, whatever shade that you want to match the hatch that you are trying to imitate. But this is my favorite, this light tan variation. I'm just going to tie that thread onto my shank. And we're just going to wrap that back down to the tail. Now for the tail, I've just got a Wapsi soft hackle hen patch. Sorry, this is bleached ginger or ginger bleached. Sorry, very versatile little capes. They're awesome for all types of flies. I use this in the powder damsel in a different color. Very inexpensive as far as quality fly tying materials go. These are very, very versatile little patches. So for the tail, I'm just going to take one of those feathers off the patch, and we're just going to select a small pinch. I'm going to trim those little butts off, and we're going to tie this in for our tail. Right at the back of the fly, right about where the barb would be if this was a barbed version of the hook. I'm going to fasten that down. The majority of your body is going to be made up of this tying thread. I'm going to cover it with some UTC vinyl rib, the size Midge, in the color clear. There are other colors in this material as well too, if you're doing a different color variation of this fly. There's light olives, browns, all kinds of stuff that you can tie this in with. And I'm going to tie this down the entire length of the fly, stopping it kind of just behind the eye. And the reason I'm doing this is if I tie it in right at the back, it's going to make a big bump, and then I've just got to mess around with my thread to try and even everything out, and this is just my lazy sort of cheater way. Tie it in where the thorax is going to be. This is going to be the thickest part of the fly. Oops, and then I pulled it free, so we're going to want a couple extra wraps. And what I was going to say is I'm going to pull back on this material a little bit, apply a little bit of tension, and that will stretch this a little bit, making it a little thinner, creating less bulk. Just going to do nice even side-by-side wraps with the tying thread as even as we can. Going to go back, bring that forward, just as if we were doing a chironomid. We want it nice and smooth and uniform. Try and keep that abdomen nice and skinny. And I'm just going to cover that thread with this vinyl, again applying tension to it. And we're going to stop that a little bit shy of the eye. We're going to cover up a little bit of this with some tying thread, but it's better to have a little bit more of that covered than not enough. The proportions that we're kind of aiming for is we want about 2/3 abdomen, 1/3 thorax. Now, in order to build that thorax, I'm going to do some winding with the thread here, and I'll fast forward this for you guys to kind of put you out of your misery. All right, we've got a bit of a buildup of our tying thread there, and I'm going to go back to this patch and grab a feather, and that's going to make up our wing case and the legs on our fly. So I've just stripped the fluff off of the base of this, and I'm going to pull some of this back, and these are going to end up being our legs on the finished fly. I'm going to pull that back, and I'm going to tie this in by the tip. There, I just wet that a little bit. Sometimes it makes it a little bit easier to control all the little fibers on that tip section. Trim those down a little bit, and I'm just going to make sure that that's all covered with thread. Now, to tie those legs in, all right, now for the wing case and the legs, I've gone back to the patch, selected a feather, and what I've done is I've stripped all the fluff off of the base of it. I've grabbed it by the tip, and I've pulled some of that feather back, and these are going to be our legs on the finished fly. Now, I've wet that a little bit to help keep everything manageable. And I don't want to tie this in by the very tip, because if I tie it in by the very tip, what's going to happen is when I go to pull these legs back, they're going to be way up here, and I'm only going to be able to capture the very, very points of it, essentially. So it can take a little bit of practice to kind of get the proportions down on this one, but you can kind of cheat a little bit and figure it out before you lock it all the way down. So I've got that where I like it. We're going to trim off that excess tip. Make sure that's all nice and secure. We have that thorax looking the way that we want it. And we're going to pull that feather forward for the wing case, and at the same time I'm going to stroke those tips back. And we're going to tie it off. Oops. And we're going to tie it off right behind the eye. I'm just going to make a loose loop to capture everything, and then apply some pressure to that thread and pull it down. And that's going to create our wing case and our legs. Just pull that feather forward a little bit, make sure that it's away from the eye. Oh, we're playing with fire here. I might have crowded it a little bit. Let's see. We'll give that a trim. He saves it. And we'll give it a quick whip finish. I got a couple of flyaways with the legs there, but that's okay. I tied it a little on the heavier side. I can always cut those strays off, or we can manipulate them into place. I don't think the fish are going to care too much. Actually, kind of look. You know what? If they didn't want to be unruly, let's chop them off. There. Add a little dab of head cement, and you have an excellent little Callibaetis imitation, the May Day Mayfly Nymph. So one of my personal favorites that we have at the shop here. Great one for the lakes. You can adjust this by, if you add a bead to it, be a really, really good river imitation as well too. But very versatile fly. Great one to have in the box. I hope you guys like this video. Hit that like button for me. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already. Share this video with your friends if you need a little bit of help tying some mayflies. And like always, I'll have the materials linked in the description below for this one. If you got any questions, hit us up in the comments. You can get us on our DMs on any of our social media. And so there you have So there you have my favorite Callibaetis Stillwater imitation that we have here at the shop, the May Day. A very simple pattern, but it can be a little bit challenging to kind of try and figure out the proportions, but a worthwhile one to mess around with and have in the box. Like I said, you can tie it in different colors, a little bit darker, a little bit lighter, if you want shades of olive, however you like it. We can get you set up for all the materials for that. Like always, I'll have all the links for the materials posted in the description below. Love it if you guys like that video for me. Subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already and you want to see more of the content that we're putting out. And yeah, check us out online, www.c-run.com. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll catch you on the next one.